All right, I'm back with another market update video. And after years of very tight inventories, it's finally starting to change in Calgary. We are entering a more balanced market overall. Prices are still up compared to how they were a few years ago, but the market has definitely turned. And this is the first time in years that we've seen more than 3 months of supply in the single family market. So things are definitely changing. Still a good market, it's just a bit more balanced overall. And the real shift that I've seen is in the condo and the townhouse sector, which I will get into. There's definitely more options for buyers in those sectors. Now let's take a look at the actual stats. So for July 2025, there were about 2,100 sales, down 11.6% year over year. New listings were up 8.5% to roughly 4,000 new listings. And the inventory, again, up close to 7,000 active listings on the market, up 66.1% year over year. So a big number there. And for months of supply, we're at 3.3, up 87.9% year over year, which is a huge increase. But actually, if you look at it in more detail, 3.3 months of supply is actually pretty good. It's just there wasn't much inventory at this time last year. So 3.3 months of supply, I would say, is in balanced market territory. And it's not the end of the world to be in balanced market conditions. I think it's easier for the public and for real estate agents to work in a balanced market. It doesn't favor the buyer or the seller. As long as you're priced reasonably well, you can sell fairly quickly, and buyers should have some options. So I think it's good for everybody to be in a balanced market. Now, if we look at the total residential price, it's actually down 3.9% year over year to $582,900. This number is the average of all of these here, so detached homes, duplexes, townhouses, and condos. And the actual detached price, this is the first time I've seen it in years that it's actually negative compared to the previous year. So down almost 1% to $761,800. Duplexes, average price $697,500, up 1.4% year over year. And townhouses down almost 4% to $446,200, and apartments down almost 5% to $329,000. These two sectors, townhouses and apartments, are definitely struggling the most, but it does depend on which area of the city that you're in, because some areas are doing quite well, some areas are doing pretty bad. And I'll just give you a few talking points per sector. So for detached homes, this is the first time in years I've seen more than 3 months of supply. So the market's definitely shifting. It's becoming a little bit easier for buyers for detached homes. I think prices are leveling off. The sellers can still take advantage, though. If you price it well and you're in a good part of Calgary, I think you can still take advantage of the market. It's just it doesn't favor the seller as much as it used to. And here's like a visual kind of explanation of what I'm talking about. So in Calgary for detached homes, if you look at places like Northeast Calgary, the prices have dropped almost 5%. Then if you look at the city center, which is still doing pretty good, they're almost up 2%. So it just depends where you're at. Northwest Calgary is fairly flat, same with the West End. These are very desirable parts of Calgary, and I think they're going to hold their value well. If you look at East Calgary, prices down minus 5.73%. So if you are a detached buyer or a detached seller, you just have to make sure that you understand your sector of the city and what's going on. And each part of Calgary has its own kind of market dynamics. Now, for the semi-detached market, now I try to make these market updates fairly interesting. There's not all that much to talk about in terms of the duplex market. It's not a huge market, and it's actually performing quite well still. It's been very stable, especially in parts of Calgary like the city center and Northwest Calgary. I think it's a market for a lot of move-up buyers and people that are maybe priced out of detached homes or looking at like the infills in the inner city. So the market's definitely not collapsing for the duplex market, and it's been very resilient, and I would just say it's quite stable. And for the semi-detached sector, if we look at the actual pricing throughout the city, city center up almost 3%. It's down in Northeast Calgary, North Calgary, and on the east side of the city. But the rest of the city, I would say, is fairly flat and even positive. You see Northwest Calgary 1.45% up, and same with the West End, up 1%. So this sector in Calgary is performing fairly well for the most part. And for townhouses and apartments, I'm going to lump them together because they are quite similar right now in that there's a lot more inventory coming to the market. We're seeing brand new rentals come online, renovation projects, brand new builds, and they're all competing to get the buyer's attention. So we're seeing a lot more inventory and buyers have options. So we're seeing the prices come down. So if you are a seller in this sector, You'll have to price it aggressively. You'll have to make sure the photos look great, make sure it's easy to access the property. And if you're a buyer, you just got more negotiating power and more options to choose from. Now, if we look around the city in terms of the residential benchmark price, city center 588, down 4.1%. Now, this includes a lot of condos in the city center, so it's a bit deceiving. If you're looking to buy a detached home here, they are considerably more expensive. On the west side of Calgary, average price 716, down 2.3%. Northwest Calgary 643, down 2.7. North, the south, and the southeast are usually around the average price ranges, 581, 573, and 545 in the north. Down 5.8 in the North Calgary, down 2.7 and 3.6 on the southeast end of the city. And the most affordable part of Calgary is down quite a bit. Northeast Calgary, 494, 400, down 7.2%. And East Calgary, 414, 600, down 7.4%. So why are prices coming down on the east side of Calgary? And I think it's happening for a few reasons. But the big one for me is there's lots of brand new developments on the east side of Calgary. Lots of new neighborhoods being built. And the builders are flooding the market right now with inventory, and for buyers, it gives them more options. And if they can buy something brand new or something that's been pre-owned, they usually choose the brand new option. So that makes these other areas around these new developments not as desirable, and that's why you see falling prices. And I'll just give you a brief summary, sector by sector, of what happened year over year. So for the detached market, we had roughly 1,100 sales last year. This year was 1,031, so it's down a little bit. New listings are up 9.7%, so up a little bit from 1,700 to 1,888. Inventory way up from roughly 2,000 to 3,000, up 57%. Months of supply 1.79 to 3, so that's up as well. Days on the market, I won't cover all these things, but days on the market went from 24 to 34 days. Now this includes the pending period for like financing, home inspection, so 34 days is still pretty fast. And the median price unchanged, 705 to 705. So the detached sector is still performing, somewhat well. And next up is the apartment sector, not looking that great, to be honest. Last July, there were 659 sales. This past July, 508. So the sales are down almost 23%. New listings, 1,043 to 1,014. Not a huge change there, but the inventory is up considerably, from 1,369 listings to 2,097, so up 53%. Months of supply is doubled basically from 2 months to 4.13. Let's look at the days in the market, from 27 days in the market to 45. And the median price is down 3% from 319 to 310. So the apartment sector is not looking too great. The semi-detached sector is a bit more stable. Total sales, 199 to 187, down 6%. New listings are up from 263 to 331. Inventory is also up, roughly 300 to 549, up 86%. Months of supply from 1.48 to 2.94, which is actually still pretty good, even though it's up 98%. Days in the market from 22 to 34. And the median price is down only a little bit, from 610 to 605, roughly almost 1% down. And the row sector, total sales from 423 to 373, down 11.82%. New listings are up 576 to 678, up 17%. Inventory is up a huge amount, from 547 to almost 1,200, up 118%. Months of supply from almost nothing, from 1.29 to 3.2, up 147%. Days in the market from 20 to 37. And if we look at the median price, from 450 to 434. So what does all this mean? If you're a buyer, I think it's good news. I think the interest rates are probably going to stay flat. Maybe they even decrease a little bit. There's more inventory coming to the market, gives you more choices. So you could buy right now, but you could still delay as well. And I don't think it'll hurt you too much to maybe sit on the fence and watch how things play out. My guess is the market continues to balance out, so it gives the buyer more options. But again, you have to look at what you're buying and the neighborhood that you're in, the quadrant, because not all neighborhoods are the same. Some parts of Calgary are doing quite well still, other parts are struggling. So it depends on your price range, the sector, and the area of the city if you're a buyer. You just can't blanket Calgary and say, oh, it's a buyer's market. That's not the case. It just depends, again, on the product and the price range and the neighborhood. Now, for sellers, is now a good time to sell your property? Now, I would look at this two different ways. The first way is the bigger picture. If you have a nice property in a good neighborhood, you're almost always better off to hold real estate for the long haul in Canada. I think in, say, 10, 20 years from now, that property is probably going to be up a huge amount of money compared to how it is today. So I'd be thinking bigger picture, and I wouldn't be scared of this market. But the second person is someone that has to sell for legit reasons. And there are many. It could be like a birth, a death, you're upsizing, you're downsizing, you're relocating. There's all sorts of reasons, or a job loss. Lots of reasons why you could legit be interested in selling. And you can absolutely sell quickly in this market still. I think you just have to nail the price, have great photos, good marketing, hire a good real estate agent, and make it easy for the buyers to access the property. And you can absolutely still sell quickly in this market. You just have to be more realistic in terms of pricing, how long it's going to take versus in the past. So in terms of buying or selling right now, there's no right answer. It just depends on your own specific plans. It can be a great time for you. And if you have some questions about the market and about your situation, I'd love to help. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I've got some free resources for you in the pinned comment: Buyer's Guide, Seller's Guide, Relocation Guide. Feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to discuss some options with you. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.